Welcome to Monday. It's the 23rd day of October, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's only daily newspaper. Subscribe to their daily email digital newsletter by going to cowboystatedaily.com and pressing the subscribe button. Well, there's more clarity in the forecast, thankfully. I know we spent many days last week telling you that we really did not have a comfortable feeling in the long term in terms of what changes were coming, but now I think we've got a better idea of what's going on, and it is going to be a lot of weather. The nice start to the week, the nice weather we had over the weekend is still on tap. In fact, for really the first half of the week, the weather is going to be okay, especially today and tomorrow. But what's going to unfold now is two separate events. Instead of just one storm, we actually have a couple of situations coming, and I think that's why the modeling was having such a hard time trying to figure things out. Two separate events are coming. So we're going to separate them because regionally and where these storms affect the region will be different. So that's why we're separating these events. The first event will bring much colder weather with rain and snow to the Pacific Northwest, far northern and northwestern Wyoming, Yellowstone Park, the Bighorns, the far western and northern areas of Wyoming, all of Montana, North Dakota, and parts of southwest Canada between Wednesday through Friday. So while there will be some colder weather coming into all of the region then, the areas I just mentioned will be impacted the most with this first storm system. The second event will push much colder air, rain and snow over the weekend for Wyoming, Nebraska, and parts of Colorado and parts of Utah. This system will overspread rain and snow and sharply colder air. A lot of cold air is associated with this change. This is the coldest air of the season, bar none. A big change, a big departure from where we've been. And it's going to be a very cold Halloween, not only for our neck of the woods in this region, but a large part of the nation. Going to see a much different situation come Halloween. Some great shots of the Aurora Borealis that popped up over the weekend. Nice to see. And also just another nice weekend with a beautiful sunrise, light winds, and boy, we have had a really nice October for the most part. It's going to end a little bit differently, but we've had it pretty good. As we take a look at the satellite imagery, we do have a little bit of shower activity that'll be going across the northern Rockies here with an area of low pressure that is coming in and heading southeast. There's not a lot of weather with it, but we've got a storm system out here that's going to spin around. But what is going to be really causing all of our weather is back up here and up here. You really can't see it, but things will come together as you'll see here in a moment. The morning photos showing you the low here, the moisture out ahead of it, and the area of low pressure off the coast of British Columbia. High pressure is building in behind it, so the stage is set for this system to dig southeast, pick up some moisture, and bring rain to the Midwest and Corn Belt. We'll show you that here in a minute. By Wednesday morning, we see that low down in the Big Bend country and then a stronger low coming into Washington and Oregon. Very cold air associated with this system. And now we see that high really building in. If you remember last week, we talked about these two systems maybe trying to merge. And if they merged, we'd have one solution. If they stayed separate, we'd have another. Well, they're staying separate. So what that's going to do is allow the digging of very cold air and a lot of moisture into the northwest areas of the United States. And that moisture will be thrown over and on top of overrunning, we call it moisture overrunning very cold air coming in out of northwest Canada. So if you look at these wind barbs, all the winds are coming in from the due north, right here into British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan. Then eventually, as we get into later Monday and Tuesday, the northern tier. That's why the northern areas are going to see the biggest weather. This is for late Thursday. We have the low going out over on top of the cold air, producing the snow in the northern areas, but then we have the separation with this low, which will then take a track like this. So event number one is going to be right here and back to the Pacific Northwest. Then we'll see the moisture streak out ahead of it. So here's the first event. This is through late Thursday. The Pacific Northwest, through Idaho, through northwestern Wyoming, Montana. Then as we get up into the plains of North Dakota, across southern Canada here, this is going to start as rain, but it's going to quickly turn over to snow. Look at the heavy moisture across Texas, Oklahoma, maybe into eastern Nebraska, parts of the Corn Belt here. This is what's left of the remains of what was Hurricane Norma, bringing those areas some beneficial rain. So when we see the cold come in, we do see the cold air getting into central and southern Wyoming and the region with this first push. But it's going to be the northern areas that get the snow, and here it is. So you can see Yellowstone Park, the Bighorns, the Wind Rivers, Jackson Hole. Look at Montana. Look at western North Dakota, then up here in the Canada. This is going to be a significant snow event. Livestock interests up there, travelers up there, hunters up there, you need to be ready. So this is through 6 p.m. on Thursday. So you can see a little bit of moisture getting in the southern mountains, and we are going to have colder air push in to the Front Range areas Thursday and Friday, but the deeper moisture stays north. Here's the second system. We're going to have another low that's basically broke off from the main low and take a dip down towards Utah into western Colorado. This opens the floodgates to cold air. If you notice the wind barbs, they're coming in from some very high latitudes right into the west. This will bring moisture into the equation. So what we have is the second event. So the second event will bring a swath of moisture into these areas right here. Then also a little bit more snow up here in the Dakotas as well as that low comes down south. Now, we'll have to see what evolves, and I think there will be some changes. But we could certainly see an I-80 snow event maybe get into Nebraska. The heavy snow threat is there into Colorado's mountain areas, and maybe the plains and Front Range of Colorado as well if it tracks a little bit further south. There you can see the second wave of snow is now taking a further track south. So two events hitting the northern areas first, the Central Rockies second, and the floodgates just open up. This is by Sunday afternoon. Blue northern for Texas. Look at that. Very cold air just pours in out of Canada, gets areas west of the divide as well. So everybody gets in on the fun. Nobody misses out. And you're going to be looking at temperatures that'll be very cold. This is for Monday, a week from today. Very cold air will continue to pour on in. This all adds up to very cold conditions. This is for 6 p.m. on Tuesday, Mountain Time. So trick-or-treat time, essentially. And you can see the cold is reaching the Gulf Coast, even into Mexico, into the Great Lakes. Only the southeast here really escaping the cold for now. And you're looking at temperatures right now for 6 p.m. on Tuesday for Halloween. These are air temperatures. Look at these temperatures up here. And mid-20s across parts of Wyoming, 30s into Colorado. And then these are the wind chills for that same time frame. So big changes are coming. We'll be able to get more detail for you as we get closer. In the meantime, enjoy the 2 or 3 days left that'll be decent, because after that, it's going to feel like winter.